What's up, parents? So serious question. Do you guys believe, as parents, that you have a right to scold someone else's child for any reason whatsoever? And I do believe that we as parents, depending on how we're scolding, I should say, we definitely should have a right to tell someone's child that they're wrong. Like, for instance, I see so many parents, they're like so nonchalant with their kids' location out in the public. I don't know how you guys see it, but I just been seeing a lot of kids, whether I'm in the supermarket with my children, whether I'm by myself, whether I'm at the playground with my children. I see a lot of parents, they're just so free with their children. And mind you, these are young children. They're not old enough to have certain senses about the world and situational awareness. No, these are young children. So let's create an example. Let's say you bring your children to a playground, and you being the vigilant parent that you are, you're watching your children. Not only watching them, you're engaging them. So you see a child out of nowhere, you look to your left and you see a child coming up to interact with your child. It's fine. It's fine in the moment, right? Now, in your mind, you're still looking around because you're like, whose parent is this? I mean, whose child is this? Where's the parent for this particular child? And I've been in a situation like that. And I'm like, I didn't see a parent near that child at all. Like, it took the child to do something that was worth the parent actually showing that they're the parent. I believe when you have your children out in public, your young children, everyone should know, whether they've spoken to you or not, they should know you are watching that child. This world is too crazy for you to be having your young children just doing whatever they want to do without you being in close proximity. Because especially if they're young, I think you should be in close proximity with your children. So anyway, I'm at a park and I see, like, I think we were at a sprinkler. There we go. It was over the summertime, and we were at a sprinkler park. And I'm seeing certain kids bring like water guns, which is fine. But here's where I had an issue. So they had the water guns, and they're shooting it in people's faces, in their eyes, with the water gun. Mind you, they do not know these kids. And I'm seeing this and I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And my daughters were there. And I saw one of the boys try to do that. And I cut it off immediately. I said, no, you're not going to do that. And for some reason, I still didn't see whose child that was. So my question to you parents is, do you guys think you guys have a right to scold someone's child, reprimand in any kind of way? Because honestly, you have to be the number one advocate for your own child. You have to be. No one is going to advocate for your child like you are. When you go out in public, you got to let the world know, this is my baby, and I'm not playing with none of you jokers out here. I'm not playing with none of y'all when it comes to my children. Not one. I will smile in my mugshot. I have no issue with that. No issue. But like I'm saying, do you guys believe that, and it's a shame that I'm asking this question, right? Because it just seems like it has an answer in itself. Like, this is an answer that everyone knows. Do you believe you should be watching your young kids at a close proximity? I believe the answer is yes. But for some parents, it just seems like it's a no. Like, I guess some people just feel like they can parent from a bench. Like, if you're just sitting on a park bench and your child is like very far from you, or an uncomfortable distance, in my eyes at least, we live in a world where it takes 1 second for your child to be snatched. You could read 2 words on your cell phone and your child will be gone. Now, is that paranoia, or is that just being vigilant? Let me know in the comments what you guys think, because in my mind, that's being vigilant. And I think I mentioned in one of my videos about situational awareness, how we got to teach our kids this. I'm going to look in my previous videos. I'm not sure if I did speak about that already, but that's an important topic. Situational awareness, not only for kids, for us adults too. Some of us adults be crossing the street with the phone in our hand, crossing the street. I see it all the time with teenagers. No fear of fear. Just crossing the street with the phone in their hands. How do they know they're going to make it across that street with that phone? Whoever you're talking to in that moment can wait. They could wait. No phone call, no text message is that important while you're crossing a street. And sidebar, this is a sidebar comment. I can't stand, this is, I don't know, I've always been, in my opinion, I feel like I've always been a gentleman. I can't stand to see these young boys walking with the girls, right, on the sidewalk. And they don't practice having the girl not walking on the side of the street. I forgot what you call that area. So the girl that they're walking with is walking closest on the side to the street, and the boys on the opposite side. I hate that. That bothers me so much when I see that. If I had a son and I seen him do that, there's going to be some furniture moving. If I have 2 daughters, right? And I would have an issue later on down the line if I ever seen them walking with a dude, and the dude has them walking on the side closest to the cars. Nah, you can't. Teach your children better, guys. Really just try your best to teach them certain things, because that's something that shouldn't happen. Teach your sons to be gentlemen, but also teach your daughters to be accepting. Not bitter, not all the things that you see in this generation now, but have respect, have class for yourself. These are lessons we should be showing our children. These are attributes we want them to have. But we got to show them the ways early on. There's a lot of things our kids could be learning. Anyway, I kind of dived off the topic. I kind of dived away from it. Watch your children, guys. Watch them. Because there's instances where the parent is not around and the children is being very disrespectful to someone else's child. And the other parents that are actually watching their kids, they're seeing this. And they're like, no, whose child is this? Come get your son. Come get your daughter. Being very disrespectful and rude. This can't fly. And then here come the neglectful parents upset because you reprimanded their children. Who should really be mad in that moment? Should it be the parent that wasn't watching their children? Or should it be the parent that actually was watching their children defending what happened with their children with this other child? Who should be mad? I know it shouldn't be the neglectful parent that wasn't watching their kids in the first place, but we have a lot of instances in the world where people do not take accountability. When you have a child, right? You got to understand something. No matter if you like it or not, your child is going to represent you. Let me say it again for the people in the back. I don't think y'all heard me. Regardless of how you think, your child is going to represent you. When they go out in public and they start acting a fool, I mean a whole entire fool, just showing all part of their behind in the street, people are going to judge you. And they're going to look at you and say, you're probably not doing a good job as a parent. Regardless of what you're doing, you could be doing an excellent job and your child just is not taking instruction. Because there's instances like that where there's great parents out here who just got kids that just don't learn. These are the type of kids that have to learn the hard way. They don't deal with instruction from good parents. So guess who's going to pick up that chalk and start teaching them? Life. And I pray to God, my kids don't have to learn from life. They're going to learn from life in certain aspects, which I want them to. But I'm talking about the kind of life that steps up to that chalkboard, picks up that chalk. The one that don't care about anything. And that's the one that I'm kind of scared of them learning. The ones when they don't listen to what I'm telling them to do or instructing them based on the experience I had, because I'm trying to make them avoid certain pitfalls. That life I'm talking about. When you don't listen to instruction from people who have been through things. When you have to learn from life based on you not listening, that's going to be the harsh part of their life. When you got to learn from pain and suffering because you chose not to listen to your elders or people who were looking out for you. People who saw that pitfall 50 feet away from you, but you chose not to listen and you chose to run towards that pitfall. That's the hardest thing. That's one of the hardest things parents have to learn to accept. Letting their kids learn from the harshest parts of life. Understanding that their children will fall and hurt themselves based on them not listening to what was said. Because kids in their young brain, they don't understand why we tell them the things we tell them. And they may not understand it until they actually experience pain and suffering and consequences, all of these things that are uncomfortable in life. And trust me, your kids, my kids, they're going to go through uncomfort. They're going to go through pain and tears and all of this stuff here. The sooner we as parents understand that, I think the better it will be. It's going to be uncomfortable. Trust me, because I'm not ready for it. I'm not ready for the uncomfortable parts of raising children. But I know it's going to come. The uncomfortable parts are going to come. The uncomfortable topics that you have to sit your child down and speak to your child about is going to come. I'm going to miss the days when I spoke to my daughters about Rapunzel and Princess Tiana and Aladdin, any Disney movie or whatever we watched. I'm going to miss those days because she's at an age where now we got to start having deeper conversations about your body. We got to have these conversations. And it's going to be very uncomfortable for me as a father to have some of these conversations. I know it has to be done. But we as parents, we got to understand our children are not going to be children forever. They're not going to be small forever. They're going to grow up. They're going to gain a certain perspective about the world in which they live. We would love for them to listen to our wisdom, listen to the words that we spoke to them, the things we've constantly repeated to them before they open the front door of the home. Unfortunately, there's going to be things that go into their left ear and then it comes out of their right ear. I'm just praying the most important things that I say or try to teach my child, I hope they retain it. I hope they retain it. Because I refuse to say, I refuse to have the mind state of always blaming a parent for the way their children turn out. Because like I said, there are parents that do a great job. They've done their best. And just because I'm on the outside looking in, I'm not going to be able to see everything that parent did. But that parent may have tried their best. But the world in which we live, they're going to judge that parent based on how their children act out in the public. They're going to say that parent did not do a good job. Because unfortunately, in certain aspects, it's unfair. Based on how our children act, it's unfair that people will judge us parents and say, you're a shitty parent because of the way your kids turn out. It's unfair. But this is the way in the world, this is the world in which we live, where our children represent us. Whether we like it or not, they're going to represent us. And we have to do our best to teach our kids the right way to act in public. You can't just leave someone's home, leave your parents' home and act up in any way you want to, because it shows like you have no home training. If you can't clean up after yourself, if you can't wipe up the table after you finish eating, certain things just will show other people, wow, this kid does not have any kind of manners or etiquette, nothing. The world will judge our children, especially our black children. They will judge them harshly. This is the world in which we live. And our black children, unfortunately, the mistakes they make can haunt them for the rest of their life. More so than another race of another child. I've seen it over and over again. Some people may choose to deny it and be ignorant, but in my observation, I've seen it over and over again. Over and over again. They will judge our black children very harshly. And their mistakes, they will hold them more accountable for their mistakes than their another race of children. That's the unfortunate truth. And when you start telling truth like that, some people, it's only going to offend certain people that are not ready to hear that truth or want to deny the truth based on their beliefs. But at this point of life, 2025, that's not even a belief. That's an observation. This is what's going on. This is what's happening all around the world. So, guys, again, parents, please, I say this again, please watch your children. keep them as safe as possible, and continue to teach them in any way possible. Till next time, guys. Peace.